What's up, Macon-Bibb? It's Edna Adams.
Olivia Walter.
Emily Hopkins.
And you're listening to
Macon It.
We are making it into August.
Yes.
I can't believe I'm saying that. I feel like everyone says that, right? They're like, oh, I can't believe it's August. But like, really, this year has flown by.
I saw Halloween candy in the grocery store, and I thought I had entered some sort of time warp because there was no way we've made it to Halloween candy season.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I love Halloween, but
Me too.
It's too early to see some candy corn. Yeah.
I just can't comprehend. Like, last week, we were dying in this heat. It was so hot outside.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're, like, in this weird, like, over the weekend, it felt cool.
Yes.
And it just didn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, something's weird. I'm not ready to let go of summer just yet.
Nope, not yet. I'm not ready yet either.
Give me the sunshine. Give me the lake days. Give me the water options. Like,
we still have one more pool party in us, I
yeah,
think.
yeah. I'm not ready. But yeah, this week is going to be interesting with like rain and just, it's a perfect time, I guess, to be curled up in your couch. And you know what? Go ahead. Go buy the Halloween stuff, all right?
Yeah.
You know, decorate your house. It feels like Halloween anyway right now. Like, I want to be curled up in my couch.
There's a lot of good movies coming out, so, you know, it's a perfect time.
Scary
Just go
movie
get
season.
Yeah.
No judgment. I do love Halloween, though. I'm excited. I'm excited for fall.
I
This
love
Florida
fall.
girl loves fall here.
Fall is my favorite.
Really?
Football season starting. Oh, man.
Can't wait. Football. Go team.
Sports, go
Woohoo.
sports.
Go dogs.
But that also means that it's back to school time.
It does. It does. And I loved back to school time. Like the anticipation of the new school year and your new class and your new teacher. And well, we've got to get all the school supplies. I love going back to school shopping because all of my stuff, all of my folders had to match. They had to be a specific theme.
Pencil pouches.
And yes, it was Lisa Frank.
Of course.
Yes, of course it was.
A huge shout out to all of the community organizations that put back to school bashes together. I know a recreation department did one too, where they gave away some backpacks with some school supplies. Y'all are the MVPs for real, because we know that not everyone can afford to get school supplies. You know, it's definitely a luxury for some. So thank you to all of those teams and organizations that did so. Back to school, we've got a lot of great things to look forward to this fall. I know I'm getting ready for the Hispanic Heritage Festival, which is October 18th. What else? Football. What else do we got going on this fall? Y'all let us know, too. If you're listening to this podcast and you're like, we have an event this fall, please let me know. I want to put it in the hub. I want to talk about it here. I want to talk to you about it. I want to let the media know about it.
Absolutely.
How can we help? Please reach out to us. We don't know what we don't know. So reach out to us. Let us know about your events. Let us know about what you're doing. Give us some positive news. Give us some good news. We always accept it. So, again, the weather's been weird, hot. Oh, I'm going to say cold. I said that over the weekend. I was like, I'm cold. And my brother-in-law looked at me. He's like, don't say that.
You sound like a true Floridian when you say it's
Because I
cold when
am.
it's still like 87
It was like
degrees.
72 degrees at that point.
Okay.
And I was outside in shorts. I was cold.
Yeah. I mean, I do remember
I'm
once.
getting looks of judgment.
Yeah. I was in Fort Myers once and it was in the 70s and the people I was with said, we need to go get hot chocolate. And I was like, are you kidding
chilly.
me?
It's 70s are
almost
the best.
I mean, it
lower
is.
70s.
Yeah.
They feel great.
Okay, don't judge me. But anywho, weather's been wonky. I have not been so good about looking at the weather. Like, I'll be like, oh, it's raining. But you know what?
It's like in Mean Girls.
Yeah. Like, it feels,
There's a 70% chance that it is currently raining outside.
Oh, it's raining? Oh, didn't know that. But we've got so many, like, opportunities to see the weather and look at, you know, how to be prepared and stay prepared, especially at the palm of our hand, especially with the NBC Alert app. I mean, I've got my Weather Channel app. I've got my Apple Weather, and I've got the NBC Alert app. I'm good. I just need to look at it more.
Yes.
Because it's there. And I do appreciate, because I do get the alerts too. So if you haven't already, download the NBC Alert app. You're going to want to do that, especially now. Like me, we're getting a lot of rain. It could be, some flood
flash
areas.
floods.
Yeah, flash floods. Definitely stay prepared. That kind of goes with our episode today. We talked to our emergency management agency team, Robert and Sophie, who just got back from a really awesome trip, a really great opportunity for them to do so. Emily, we shared some pictures and videos and all of that from their trip. They got back from Maryland. They spent like the week there. Really important stuff. And they get to talk about it on this episode of Macon It. We've got part of our EMA team in the house. What? We've got Robert McCord, who's the deputy director, and Sophie Rosen, our special projects officer. Welcome, guys.
Good morning.
Thank you.
How's it going?
It's going good.
Yeah,
Are y'all able to finally take a breath?
Yeah.
Kind of in this hot weather, as now we're dealing with extreme heat, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I think it took us some time to calm down after the whole week away, but now that it's been a week back, I think we're feeling all right.
Yeah, a whole week away, and then not just that, but the lead up to that week, months of planning, almost a year, right?
Almost a year. Yep.
Of planning, and we're talking about the FEMA's IEMC, which is the Integrated Emergency Management course. Yay, I did it. Yes. Which is such a privilege, such an honor to have been chosen out of all of the cities and counties in the whole country. FEMA chose us, and they were like, hey guys, y'all want to come get some special training on all the things you need to know to make sure that your community is safe in case of any disaster. So y'all are the experts in this. I mean, y'all went to the course and everything. Olivia and I did not go to the course, and we apologize for that.
Yeah, we missed you guys.
Yeah.
It's all good.
I love the pictures. I love the stories that came back with it, and I feel like it was just it was a great experience for you guys, for EMA, obviously, but for our community partners. So I'm going to let you guys kind of talk about what IEMC is and why is it such a big deal? Because it is. It's a huge deal for us.
Yeah, this really gives us a chance to bring these partners together in a simulated environment where they can make the mistakes. They can ask the questions and make sure that they're more ready, more prepared for when the real thing happens. And these are partners that aren't necessarily the ones we see every time that we have a tornado watch or we have some sort of activation at the operations center. And this provided them a really awesome opportunity to also network and meet people that they don't normally interact with. Some of the new parties that came that we really had no interaction with were people like the National Park Service superintendent at the Mulgy Mounds National Historical Park. Having her here with us, with our team, and actually be able to talk and figure out what resources are available to her when she needs help, because she doesn't have anybody. She has very, very small staff. They have no law enforcement. They have no, rescue personnel, any of that kind of thing. So building those relationships, and then having Tracy Rivas from the old Mulgy
National Park and Preserve Initiative.
The ONPPI.
ONPPI.
And with all of her experience working with the Muskogee Creek Nation, really just is invaluable to us, because this is an opportunity for us to build those relationships before we have that national park that's co-managed by the tribal nation. And nobody in Georgia knows how to work with the tribal nation because we don't have any reservations here. So this was a really good opportunity for those partners to learn, these are great resources. These are people that really can help us, even if it's not impacting the park, because they're our neighbors, they're able to help us. And there's a lot of really awesome opportunities coming with this. So it's going to be really fun. But, putting the team in a high-stress EOC functional exercise, which is, just nonstop action, people making phone calls, people wanting interviews. We had two of the media with us as well, and that was that was fun. They really put people on their toes.
Yeah.
And it was good.
You're like, no pressure, but like all the pressure.
That's right, because they were simulating it, but they were also doing reporting. So it was kind of a, like, hey, they're our friends, they're part of this, but they're also still doing their real job too, and actually reporting on us. So
what I really
cool.
love about all of this, though, is it's when you're in an emergency situation, you don't want that to be your first time experiencing it. Absolutely. And so this is essentially simulating that experience so that when we do get into one of those situations, it's not like, oh no, we're building the plane in the air. You've experienced these things. You can have, those relationships now. You've been able to know, oh, I need to call this person when this happens. I know how to react in these situations. And while Ed and I were not able to go on the trip, we went through a lot of the year leading into it, the training and a lot of that prep work going into it. And so just sort of, let's start from the beginning a little. What were some of the training things we had to go through leading into this trip to Maryland, just to get people to be prepared for what they were going to see there?
So we started with IS 700 and 800. Yeah. So we had to do a basic breakdown of ICS, which is Incident Command System. So kind of how do people operate within a disaster? Who's in charge? What does delegating and liaisons look like? What does an emergency operations center look like? So people we brought had no prior experience to any disaster. They wouldn't know how that works, which I understand. I didn't know until I went to school and even until I got in the field for it. So we had months of planning for that. Last year, we rewrote our LEOP, our local emergency operations plan.
It's a lot of initials.
Oh,
a lot of acronyms.
Yes, a lot of acronyms. I'm getting tripped up on them.
I'm really glad you're going through and saying them, and then you're going back and saying them, because like it goes over a lot of people's heads whenever you say them.
And it's still a reminder for me.
Yeah.
So we rewrote that LEOP, and we did a 45-ish minute presentation of something that took us 6 months. So the LEOP itself is about 45 pages, and then we have 18 different annexes of our ESF annexes, which is Emergency Support Function. There's another acronym, where each one kind of delegates organizations that are similar, like ESF 6, for instance, is mass care. That's going to be recreation centers, because that's where we're going to put people who are displaced from a disaster. That's going to be American Red Cross, because they're going to help with shelter operations. Salvation Army, because they're going to do feeding. Some sort of local law enforcement or security to do security in the area, something like that. So that took us about 6 months. And then we did a training so people would understand kind of what that looks like. People were super responsive and super appreciative of this, because if they already knew about it, it was a good recap, because I don't think we even had anything related to pandemics in that LEOP. There was a lot we didn't have about DEI initiatives, different communities that we hadn't addressed that are high risk in Macon. So we did a lot in those 6 months to kind of get it up to date on what we needed for Macon.
When a lot happens, like within months, within years, things change. Like it's a good little refresh to be able to do. And I guess like people don't really realize, like when you're in the middle of a disaster or an emergency or whatever that, or a pandemic, whatever that looks like, you're not thinking about all these different layers and stuff. You're like, oh my gosh, the world's on fire kind of thing, right? So that's good when you're saying that it's a good refresh for people.
What other trainings did we have? It's a blur after a year.
It really is a blur. For a year of just build up of
onboarding 75 people. So we were originally allotted 75 participants. So just that training and then onboarding them, of getting them the courses that they needed to take online, which was IS 700 and 800, doing quizzes for those through FEMA's website, doing a conduct and behavior test for their website, getting them to apply, which was harder than we thought it would be, but it's okay.
Getting them to buy plane tickets.
Getting them to buy plane tickets.
The little things.
It's sometimes a lot harder to like herd a group of adults than it is children sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is.
Which I get. We're all busy.
For sure.
My email is one of 1,000, I'm sure, for the day.
Me included. I think I've gotten some reminders from y'all to be like, hey, and I'm like, dang it, I thought I did that in my head. But
and that's the thing. I mean, you had already mentioned some of the people that were involved in this. It's not like it's just the people that were our immediate office that participated in this. Like, we were contacting people way outside of this organization to make sure that when a disaster were to happen in Macon, we have so many different people that respond to those things.
Yeah.
When we talk about when we get into activation mode, whenever there's an emergency, we have things called ESFs. So an ESF is sort of a department that's responding. You can go ahead and tell me a little bit better the best way to explain an ESF. Sure. But tell me about what those different ESFs are and how you brought different organizations together to Maryland to represent those ESFs.
Sure. And Sophie kind of hit on it a little bit. And basically, emergency support functions, ESFs. There's a reason we use acronyms because it's
a lot of words.
Yeah. So each one of them breaks up a function of government during the disaster. So transportation, communications, law enforcement, firefighting, search and rescue, all those things that we need to respond and recover from a disaster. So they're all broken up between departments and other agencies. So outside agencies like Georgia Power, Macon Water Authority are both under our utilities. We have many different agencies. I'd say probably 60, 80 different agencies that are identified in our LEOP. It's just, we have to have all those working together to really be able to respond and recover from a disaster. So building those ESFs, those teams together, and actually having them come together in the same room and saying, what are you going to do when the disaster happens? Here's what we have written down. Is this right? Is this not right? Do we need to change something? Do we need to add something? And that's what we did with the LEOP update. So each ESF can be multiple different agencies working together. It's not just necessarily one agency. So for law enforcement, Sheriff's Office is priority number one. They're the ones that really are managing most of that. But there are other agencies like our park rangers at Tobosoffke are also part of that ESF. Firefighting, it's 100% Macon-Bibb Fire Department. They're amazing. And they also cover our search and rescue ESF and our hazardous materials ESF. They have support that they can call in from the state and other agencies, mutual aid, outside counties. But really, it's just getting those teams together and knowing who to call. And so that's why we break them up like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and before we went to the training, we did that 6 months, like we said, at the LEOP. Some of them after still did not know their ESF. That is no shade. I understand. Like I said, it's like, one email of 1,000 type of thing. So getting them, we did this training for a year to get to the Emergency Management Institute. It wasn't, let's talk about what's in an emergency operations center. Let's talk about what incident command is. It also was, let's understand why we're going and kind of what the mission is. It's not, hey, let's go and take boring courses for a week and like just have fun and go to the pub, like things like that. Which we had fun. We had plenty of it. We had plenty of it. But it really was like, hey, this is for the better, this is for the broader good of Macon-Bibb County. It is important that we know each other. It's important that during a disaster, our call to you is not the first time we've either spoken on the phone or met you in person type of thing, which a lot of that happened in Maryland, which is totally fine because, like we said, this is the training on purpose, where people knew each other's names and emailed them all the time but had never met them in real life. So apart from doing those simulated exercises, we also did presentations where people kind of helped other people understand their roles and capabilities. For instance, we love Macon Water. I've had the pleasure of driving out on the levee with them, and that was amazing. One, people don't get that opportunity that often. And two, we don't always know a lot about what their capabilities are. So really being able to let them present on what they're good at, what their gaps look like, that really helped everyone understand, what do they have if I need them during a disaster, or do I call them, or do I know that they don't have that, so I call someone else, something like that. So I think that was very valuable when we went up there, and it just, in general, people started to have a better relationship, and they would feel comfortable calling and asking for help.
I love that. Yeah, and especially in the middle of a disaster, just we've been in there when we've activated, and I've seen and heard, okay, well, there's a tree down. Well, who do we call for that? Oh, we need to call it, but they're not answering. So who's another contact? What does that look like? And those contacts and those relationships are crucial in the middle of a disaster. Again, we're all like kind of panicked a little bit because it is a disaster. It's our community, but at the same time, we're like relaxed because we know, so-and-so's got it.
And one of the beauties of this exercise that we did, and we took the people, these were not the directors.
Yeah.
These were not
I noticed.
the assistant directors necessarily. These were managers or supervisors or things like that people that we don't normally interact with in emergency management. Usually we're just calling the director up or the assistant director and saying, hey, we need your help, we need this. Where there were some new faces, people that we didn't really have that relationship with, but now we do. And we have those. It also helps them build as well as leaders in their organization, their agencies. So this was a really good opportunity for us, not just to learn more people, but also to train people that don't have that training because they haven't been in those roles of making decisions.
It's a great win-win too, because like they're kind of seeing what their directors and what like management and higher up has to deal with, and why they're being assigned and told, hey, you got to go do this. And then we're also kind of seeing their role and appreciating them a little bit. Not that we don't already appreciate our people, but like appreciating them a little bit more and seeing like what they have to go through, or, hey, it's not that easy to just go pick up this tree or to, just turn off that water or figure out the storm drain. It's not something that happens with like the snap of a finger. Just one.
Yeah. A lot of them are still working while we were up there. People were still taking calls. Like someone stepped out like 7 a.m. to take a call, and I was like, they rely on you and like because they're amazing at their job.
Yeah.
And I think in general it was just amazing. We learned a lot about each other, but I think people took home like a sense of pride in what they do, like in their daily position, as well as working together as a team. So I think that was very impactful. I feel definitely proud of what we did there. I feel proud of the people that I work with in our office and in the community.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you kind of say that there were people still taking calls, because what's wild to think about is like when an emergency happens, like
nothing stops.
Yeah, nothing stops. Like an emergency happens and we still have to make sure everything is running smoothly outside of that emergency. So yes, it's really wild to imagine like that scenario where we're dealing with the emergency, but yet, we still have to respond to other calls outside of that emergency to make sure our county is still operating under its normal smooth lines.
Obviously, our priorities are life safety and instant stabilization. Those are our two primary things. Make sure we're keeping people safe and we're getting to them as quickly as we can. But at the same time, toilets still get clogged up. Yeah. We still had to get the plumbers out. Power goes out. We still got to be able to do these things.
The AC is going to go out because the heat waves and...
Yeah, because it's 112 outside. So it happens as part of it, and it helps bring the realism in because things are going to happen.
I want to backtrack a little bit. How do we get chosen? How does that happen?
So we went through a process. We do an application. We had a very unique application in that it wasn't just Macon-Bibb County putting in requests to be able to get this course. We also teamed up with the Muskogee Creek Nation out of Oklahoma. So we partnered with them because of the national park status, because it looks like we are going to get it. Really hope it happens. And when it does, we have to be prepared to work with them. And so we work with them on the application. So we submit it to the state to Georgia Emergency Management. They have to do a recommendation letter. They submit it up to FEMA Region 4, and then they have to get the endorsement from Region 4. Then that goes up to Washington, and then we have to have all our endorsement letters, and we had the endorsement letter also from the Muskogee Creek Nation, from the Chief Hill. And so that goes a long way for us. So essentially when they got it, they said, yeah, they're definitely a top priority, and because of the uniqueness of the exercise. So it was really, we were very fortunate to have that relationship with the Muskogee Creek Nation and with the National Park Service and everyone else that really helps support this. And of course, our local leaders, between the mayor and all of the different leaders here locally that supported us in this. It really went a long way, and it showed that they were very supportive of us and this initiative. So it went well.
I love that, strengthening that connection that we have with the Muskogee Creek Nation and doing, things like this and having their perspective too on like our community, on the land that, we live on and stuff. And they've got a different perspective. We have a different, it's great to get everybody in the same room and all working together. And I think that's powerful. What does the trip look like? We talked about the preparation for it. You get, how many people ended up going? About
43.
43. Okay.
Yeah.
Getting everyone, I know that was a hustle and bustle of things to get everybody there. Once you're there in Maryland, because headquarters or your training, I don't want to say training camp, but that's essentially what it was, right?
Camp.
A camp.
I called it summer camp.
Summer camp. It's what it was.
Where are you in Maryland again? We're in
Emmitsburg.
Emmitsburg,
Yeah.
So it's not like
So
we're in Baltimore.
We're about 20
It's
minutes
the-
from Gettysburg. I was nerding out on this. A couple people cared, so I was happy. We were close to Camp David. So I don't know if that tells anyone where we were, but we were about 20 minutes from
There may or
Gettysburg.
may not have been a trip to Camp David last time we did this.
That's cool.
We didn't get arrested.
Unwarranted.
We got told to leave very
Yeah.
quickly. You can ask
Didn't
Liz
do it
Fabian
again
about
this
that.
time.
We were not invited to go to Camp David.
We were not invited. We were never invited. But yeah, no, it's a really cool place. So it's the National Emergency Training Center. It houses the National Fire Academy and the EMI, Emergency Management Institute, is what it used to be called. Now they've changed it to the National Disaster and Emergency Management University. I think I got that right.
What are the letters
Yeah.
for that?
We're lucky he knew it.
NDEMU.
Got it.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. So yeah, it's a really cool campus, and it used to be a women's college, and it was given to to FEMA for this purpose of being a place for first responders, emergency managers to learn how to better train and be better responders and take care of people, best practices and all that kind of thing. And it really is a fantastic place. I know Sophie and I have both been there numerous times for other courses, and it's some of the best training in the nation.
Awesome.
Yeah, you meet amazing people.
Yeah.
Like I met someone from Hawaii who was dealing with Maui fires at the time. I've met people from Alaska. I'm in little landlocked Macon-Bibb. We see a little flooding every here and then, but just to see and hear about what some of them have done is amazing.
That's great. So you make it there to this facility, campus.
You make it to summer camp.
You make it to summer camp.
That's
Not
right.
Camp David, summer camp.
Yeah.
And if you see the pictures, Spencer was definitely the camp director. He was.
Oh, yeah.
He had
we're
his
not
clipboard,
surprised.
Making
It's
sure
like
everybody's
Boy
on the
Scout
bus.
camp, ready to go. He probably
100%.
had a little bandana tied around his neck.
He had the
sunscreen,
sunscreen on his nose,
like
everything.
the zinc
That's
sunscreen.
right.
Yes.
This was Spencer's Super Bowl, I feel
Yes.
like.
It really was.
He's trained for this all his life.
Yeah. I love it.
So yeah, we've got Spencer in coach mode, and so then what happens?
Yeah, we hit the ground running. We did. So due to some delays.
Wait, you said that with a weird pause, as if then you did boot camp running drills or something. We hit the ground literally running.
Well,
Nearly.
we were running a little late. The flight
unfortunately.
was a slight delay, and so instead of having two buses going to the camp, we all got onto one, and we got there
About 9 p.m.
it was like 9:15
instead of 1 p.m.
and they were closing the dinner at the cafeteria at 9:30. That they said they'd leave it open and make sure we all got food. So, but they encouraged us to hurry up.
Yeah.
The camp gruel
So we
was
all
served.
we
Ticket to
unloaded.
go.
we went through our security where they get we had all of the armed security and everything check us all out, make sure we didn't have rocket launchers and things like
Fireworks.
that.
Gardening
Stuff, yeah.
tools.
Yeah.
I heard someone got turned away one time for gardening tools.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because if you're going to go to summer camp, you got to be ready to garden.
Right?
Exactly.
So we got in. We didn't even check in yet. They just told us to drop all your bags and go get food, come back. So that's what we did. So yeah, we literally were getting there running, trying to get some food because it had been a long day. So, but
Yeah.
Then Monday.
So we woke up.
Right.
Every day class was at 8, and that's early for me. I mean, I get out of bed probably
Preach,
at 8:10
girl.
to
Not a
get
morning
here.
person, yeah.
I get here at 8:30. I wake up probably 8:10. So everyone was pretty tired from that, but I think spirits were high. Kind of what I said talking about those presentations. We did Macon Water Authority, National Weather Service, code enforcement. They were amazing. Facilities, talking about the facilities that they prioritize during a disaster. Code enforcement talked a little bit about damage assessment. National Weather Service, they talked about kind of just hydrology and how they kind of assess weather, and then how they get it to us, which is super important. How do we talk, and then how do we as EMA talk to our county? Mm-hmm. Tracy Rivas with OMPPI did amazing presentation.
The FEMA staff all stopped. They're all throughout. They stopped what they were doing. They all went to either a monitor, which was watching it, or they just all came in and they were.
Well, she's done like a TED Talks too.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I bet you her
She's a
presentation
great
was
speaker.
fantastic.
It was amazing,
And
as
that,
always.
That goes back to our relationship with them, the county and Muskogee Creek Nation, and a lot of the stuff that we're doing around town to kind of prepare for the historic park, like seeing those road signs change to have some of their language. That's some of the stuff that we would not have known if we didn't already have her presentation. Thankfully, we've seen her at the park itself, but she was amazing. Aaron Buzza did a little call-in from Macon. He unfortunately couldn't come, but he talked about the impacts of cherry blossom and the park. Kind of what does that look like for Macon? How have we changed economically? How do we expect tourism to be affected during disasters? How do we work with hotels during disasters? Things like that. So that was about the first 2 days, was just doing presentations of understanding people's responsibilities, their capabilities, their resources. And then we got into 2 different tabletop exercises where we kind of simulated the start of our disaster. So we did 2 tabletops and then a functional. And with the tabletops, we basically started by saying, like, there's a hurricane coming, there's weather coming, there's a tornado coming. Those were the first 2 days. At the end of each of those, we stopped and had a conversation of, what does this look like for your organization? At this point, we expect a tornado. Well, I guess we wouldn't know about a tornado yet, but we expect a hurricane, we expect weather. What are you and your organization doing right now? So, what was Atrium doing? Were they looking at backup generators and backup fuel? Code enforcement, they're prepping their guys in case there's going to be any damage, doing assessments there. So that was what those first 2 days looked like. And then, do you want to kind of talk about the functional? That was our whole day. That was about 6 hours sitting in a simulated EOC, Emergency Operations Center.
Yeah, so our last, so the tabletops built together. So there was a timeline. We tried to actually, so we had to go back. We moved our dates of when this course was. It was supposed to be in March. It was actually the week before Cherry Blossom.
That's why I was unable to attend.
Yeah. And then when FEMA, the school got shut down during some stuff in Washington, so they finally reopened and we were able to reschedule for July when we went. But we had already been building this thing, so we made it that same week. We just simulated. It was that same week.
So you traveled back in time.
We traveled back in time.
Well,
during
a big one,
trip.
An alternate, a multiverse.
A big one, other than Cherry Blossom, was that the schools were still open.
Yeah.
Because if we simulated in July, the schools wouldn't be open.
Yeah, that's a good point. So in this theoretical time period in these simulations, you are in March and you're in Cherry Blossom and schools are happening. So
that's right.
In all of the things you're doing. You're
there's just
planning.
A lot because that's a busy time of year.
Schools are happening, so you're saying, like, if there's a hurricane coming, what does that mean for the school systems? What does that mean for Cherry Blossom Festival, which is in full swing? That makes sense.
So the biggest thing is we're building up. We're showing we have a bunch of rain prior to. We have some severe threat, which that time of year we always have a severe threat. It's prime tornado season. We're getting those kind of things all the time. And really, it's business as normal. There's afternoon thunderstorms. There's a threat. Okay, no big deal. But as we get through the tabletops, it escalates. Like, hey, it's a little bit more than we were thinking. It's getting, the new projections are much more severe. And then we end our second tabletop with, there's been a tornado warning. There's been a touchdown. We have reports they've actually seen the tornado, and that's where we stop. We have a bunch of questions and discussions, like Sophie said, and then the functional exercise picks up right after that. So that's when we start the response of, we're sending out crews. We're sending out, making the phone calls to the schools, finding out if they're impacted, because the time was like, I think 2:00 or something like that. So it's right schools at when high schools are starting to dismiss. And so, that it just made it more complicated and more real. We've done this. Look at Rosa Taylor Elementary School a few years ago. Right at dismissal, that whole neighborhood gets hit with a tornado. That this is real world stuff that we just made a little bit worse than what
you were actually worst case scenarioing.
Yes. Absolutely.
What's the worst case scenario? Okay, let's
because we want people to really think critically on, what do we do if this happens, if this worst case scenario happens. And so in the functional, we deal with the tornado impact. We start sending out our teams and simulating, calling out our code enforcement and tax assessors, have them go and do damage assessment. We have firefighters that are responding to various different incidents, whether it's a hazmat spill on 75 or another one over in East Macon. Search and rescue operations, where we have people that are stranded in vehicles underwater. We have lost kids in the park, things like that, because it's all real stuff. It happens every day. Doesn't usually all happen in the same day, but that's why we did it, so we can have them thinking these processes. And
because then, you're putting all of this into a situation, I feel like it pummels you with making it feel more real, though.
Exactly.
It's not
and
like
y'all
you're
have been in the EOC
and you're like, whatever, okay, but it makes it feel more and more real the more it's going on.
Y'all been in the EOC when things start picking up and a storm goes through, and we actually start getting all the phone calls. 911's dispatching units because of down trees, down power lines, all that information's coming in. We're getting a lot of that.
Yep.
And so that's what we simulate in the functional. They have a what's called a sim cell, a simulation cell, where they basically, it's a bunch of people with phones, and they say, "Hey, this is Bob. We have a tree down at this location," or this is Jill. We have a missing child at this location. Yeah. We don't know where they are at. Haven't seen them in X amount of time. And it starts from that, and then it gets worse and worse and worse. And then, hey, there's yellow smoke coming out of a tractor trailer on the interstate, or things like that, just to make people think, make people react. And most of our folks, they know their job. They know how to handle this. And it was really very, very good. They did a great job. But that functional exercise then has a time jump. So because we needed more than just a tornado, so we did a time jump for basically a 24-hour period. And because it's a simulation, you can do that. So we jumped forward in time, and that's where we had continual rain. We had, I think, 6-8 inches of rain. After we had another 4 or 5 inches previous to that. So it was just saturation and just everything going into the river. We moved the river up to about 28 feet, 29 feet.
Yikes.
Which is moderate flood stage. And one of the things that people don't really understand is how the levee works. And we had a great presentation from Macon Water Authority on how the system works and how susceptible it is to things like sand boils. When the pressure of the river, because you think about all that water is pushing against that land, that soil that the levee is made of, it's going to find a weak spot. And a lot of times it finds those weak spots. It will come up underneath the levee, come up and find some sand, some easy soil, permeable soil, and then come up on the other side, and you'll start getting water coming out in a sand boil. And you have to mitigate it very quickly before it gets out of control and causes a failure of the levee. So those are things that we worked with Macon Water. Say, what is the realistic thing of happening here? Are there weak points in the levee that you know of? And they said, absolutely, here, because they know that. That's what they've been doing. That's their job.
Yeah.
So we impacted the levee, caused flooding. A lot of times our tributaries, the different creeks like Walnut Creek backs up. Mm-hmm. When the river goes up, it goes up because it doesn't have anywhere to go. And that causes impacts to the community all around. So we made it a big flooding event in addition to the tornado. So all very realistic things that could happen have happened, but it was good. We also had press conferences, and Elizabeth from No Division did it in Spanish, and Dr. Moffat was a little shell-shocked.
We saw a clip of that.
It was
awesome.
I heard he said, my Spanish is not that fluent.
I think he said hola. Yes. That was about it. That's kind of the extent.
So he knows a word in Spanish.
In a real-life scenario, I hope that I'm there to help him out.
Yes.
That's right.
But, I wasn't there at the time. So he did great for what he could do.
But, I mean, it gives some realism and puts them on their toes of something that they're not expecting. So it was really good. It gave us a good opportunity to test all of our different aspects of our response, which is part of that is communicating with the public, making sure we're aware, making people aware of what they can do to keep themselves safe, what they need to do to stay away from hazards that are on the ground or roadways, whatever it may be, and that's part of it. So.
Awesome.
It was great.
I love how they were very close to real, though. Like, you kept everything like, okay, let's keep it very realistic to our, demographic and what could possibly happen here. Like, you weren't simulating a tsunami.
Yes.
No tsunamis, no alien invasions,
they tried
no zombie
to let
apocalypse.
out poisonous snakes at the Petland at the mall.
No, they weren't poisonous. They were just snakes, which is bad enough for pretty much
all snakes are poisonous in my brain.
Oh, yeah. No, I vetoed it. I did not want that.
No, thank you.
So it was just, we did a few things that are just kind of just extra little,
worst case scenario. Yeah.
Just make them think, what would you do, that kind of thing. But we have, our animal services folks. We have some crazy people on there that love to wrestle alligators and snakes.
We just had them on the podcast last episode, and
really?
we were talking about their alligator wrestling and stuff like that. But
that's some fun stuff. But we have those here, so we have that ability to handle those things because we have those crazy people that like to do that stuff. Mm-hmm.
Well,
thank God.
I'm glad that you guys got to do that, and especially your team with EMA. Y'all go through your own training and everything. So how do you think that this one was different from any other training that you've done?
The value of this is really being able to get our partners in the room and having them somewhere other than here. And I say that because if we're having an exercise or training here in Macon, they're still on their phone. They're walking out, dealing with it. Oh, I got to go. I got to walk down. I got to to a meeting or something like that. Mm-hmm. You don't have them.
You can't escape. You're here.
I mean, at least on there, yes, if a real world thing happens and you really have to take a call, obviously handle it. We dealt with that. Mm-hmm. That's no big deal. But they're not just going to leave. Yeah. They're not going to go down the street and handle something else because they're in Maryland. They're not, a couple of them did drive, but they're not going to be driving home very quickly. So it really gave us a opportunity to get people together and force them to interact and force them to really focus on the training. And it made it much more realistic, and it made it a fantastic opportunity for networking and building those relationships. And we talk about the pub. Yes, there's a pub. The pub is awesome.
There's in Emmitsburg.
And well, they have some stuff in town, but on campus, there's one place that's really anywhere to go after class. And then it's a pub, but it has pool tables and darts and
it's just a place to bond. Hang out after
our last day.
You did all the work.
And get to know all these people that you didn't know on that level.
That's right.
I taught a lot of people Rama Cube.
Okay, someone told me about this, and I was trying to say, like, I've I love Rummikub, and I don't have enough friends that love Rummikub as much as I do. So now we're gonna have to start playing Rummikub. So
I have no idea what you guys are
It made
talking
me
about.
so proud. Okay, no shade. I thought it was like an older person thing because I played it with my grandpa, and I'm like, I'm teaching the E911 director and people from like Piedmont, and I'm like, not that they were like old, but like I just didn't expect to be like,
no, he's old.
Yeah, I didn't expect to be one of the only ones to know it.
Yeah, no.
So that made me very proud. I was like, okay, my grandpa is like super proud of me from heaven right now, but
we're gonna have to start a new,
like
a weekly game or something.
Yeah. I'll do it.
But the
Sorry
relationship.
to cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, those relationships that we had doing the games, and the last day we had a big tournament where we played what is it, Connect 4, a giant Connect 4, like we were like 12 years old.
I love that.
And then darts and cornhole, and those were our big 3 things. And we had
it was like your little Olympics.
That's right.
Olympics
That's right.
triathlon.
And I will say, my team won.
No
But
big deal.
but it was great. It was because it gave us that team building and networking, and just having fun, having conversations that you don't have at work. And
I love the team building that you just said, because like, again, the more bonds that you strengthen there, the better we work together when it comes to those situations.
Absolutely.
So that strengthening of those bonds, even if it seems silly, in playing games together, it makes it so that when you do get into a moment, you're stronger together.
Yeah.
For sure. And you've
So it's
got
great.
that confidence to have that, phone call with that person and say, hey, I need you to do me this big favor. And,
Yeah,
remember that one time I beat you at Rummikub?
Yeah.
Well, no, you're sitting there.
Put that aside,
You're
okay?
sitting there like laughing, thinking about the good times you had, type of thing.
Yeah.
I will say though, if you really want to win at Connect 4, you just need to go talk to Robbie Blue down at
Does
Facilities.
he have like a strategy?
He's terrible.
Okay. That's,
it was an
strategy
easy
is-
win every time.
It builds your confidence.
I stacked him in 4 directly in the middle, and he didn't see it. So
Robbie.
It's like
Poor
all
guy.
you
We're gonna
needed was
teach
to
him.
do 4 every time.
he has a lot of skills, not Connect.
Maybe he thought it was Connect 5. Like he was going in for the sneak attack at the end.
Yeah.
Probably.
I don't think there was any sneaking involved. No, it was pretty blatant. But no, it was a really awesome opportunity for us to get together and do this, because when we're here, we have everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's what you said. It's hard to get everybody focused and, get whatever you need from them in that 1 hour before they have to go to the next meeting.
Yeah. And also, like, it takes you guys away from the rest of life. Like, not trying to, like, sound like I'm taking away from families and stuff, but, like, taking you away from the situation of all the extras was a good way to make you build those relationships, too, because you would have never thought to, in Macon, go to a gathering to have these conversations.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, the people that are gonna just go and, hey, let's go play Foursquare or not Foursquare, for Connect 4 in the bar.
We could do Foursquare
play,
too.
yes,
Yeah.
I mean,
we got all the games.
That's right. But it was good. It was a good opportunity, because there's people that you don't really interact with.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, this was probably the biggest exercise I've ever done. I've done one like actual simulated disaster out at the airport, but this was the biggest for me. And this was probably the first time some of those people have seen the EOC either activated or activated to that extent, because we had about 30 of us. We had about 30 of us in the EOC, and then maybe a dozen of them in the EPG, Executive Policy Group. So they were a separate room, but for the EOC to hear that many phones going off, to hear that many people talking to each other was probably a new experience for a lot of them. So I really took a lot away from this. I mean, I've been here for about 3 years now, and thankfully we haven't had a lot of disasters. We got so lucky. I was sitting in the EOC at 2 a.m. expecting Helene to hit us, and we got lucky when it changed last minute. So obviously I'm very lucky that I haven't actually experienced it, but it was really good for me to get out there and kind of understand, like, what the craziness would look like being able to kind of slow it down in my head while we were there and say, like, yes, as a simulation, I can slow it down. That would help me in a real activation, knowing, how to handle that stress, how to handle, like, understanding that people know what they're doing, being able to have confidence in everyone else. So yeah, it was amazing. I've been there a couple times, like we said, and I've met a lot of amazing people, but doing it with your community was very enlightening, and it was very gratifying, I would say.
I love that. Well, thank you guys so much for putting that together. I know it wasn't easy, and I know it was definitely not easy making sure everyone's like schedules aligned and, making sure that they took this test and did this and they registered for this and they signed up for their t-shirts and all the little things that went into it. It sounds like it was definitely worth it and it paid off. Mm-hmm. And I know, based off some of the conversations I've had with the people that have come from it, they loved it too, had a great experience and learned a lot. So thank you guys so much for what you did and getting there and sharing those stories with us too. I know that definitely puts into perspective how important that course was, not just for EMA, but for the rest of the community, for people that live here, for people that visit here. You know that you've got a team that you can trust if disaster were to ever strike. Yeah. And I feel better about that.
Good.
Too.
Well, I'm glad to hear that people enjoyed it. And I mean, thank you for highlighting us, because it is important that people in the community know that we're working in their favor, that we are trying hard every day to prepare to make sure that they're safe. So I appreciate you guys having us here.
Yeah. And this won't be the end of like hearing from you guys. Hopefully we're not hearing from y'all during a disaster, but this month, as this episode comes out, is August. And if you guys want to touch on it, we're celebrating something very big, National Emergency
Management Month. Yeah. So National Emergency Management Month. IAEM, International Association of Emergency Managers. It's the big conference that we go to every year. This is the inaugural showing, I guess, of of National Emergency Management Month. And, they have months for doctors and nurses and teachers, which are all super important because you highlight what they do. You advocate for what they're doing and why it's important. And so I guess the IAEM team thought it was important that people understood what we do. Because,
absolutely.
We are first responders in a way that people don't expect. Like, we're not on the ground every day doing that life safety the way that EMS is and stuff like that. But we do have a very important role when it comes to life safety in those big disasters. And so we want to just use this month so people know who we are. We don't want people hearing about the EMA page on Facebook the first time that they need to go look up, like, what disaster's happening. We want them to know who we are now. So, starting Friday, we'll have some exciting stuff. We're going to highlight some of those ESFs that we talked about. It's important that people know how we're working together. So, I'm excited.
Absolutely. Go follow EMA, Macon-Bibb EMA on Facebook, Instagram. We'll be sharing stuff on our Macon-Bibb County page. We've got some fun posts for you guys, and you get to learn a little bit more about what EMA does, because they do a lot.
Yes, they do.
But for now, we'll say goodbye. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for having us.